In section 9.2, we're going to set up a differential test. So let's have a look at the code that we've added. In our ML API package, we now have a differential tests directory inside the test directory. And this contains one test, this test differential. We've used the PyTest mark functionality to mark it as a special type of test, and we've updated the CircleCI config to not call that particular test. That's what this -m not differential will do, to separate our regular ML API tests and our differential tests. So let's have a look at this and break it down. What we're doing here is we are loading the results of previous predictions using the previous model version, and then we're taking the test data set and we're generating a series of predictions on the same rows. We're then checking that the length of the current predictions we've just created with make prediction matches the length of the predictions we've grabbed from this test data prediction CSV. And then we're looping over the two lists of predictions, and for each value in the prediction, we're using this mathIsClose method to check how much the two values differ from one another. And we decide how much they should differ using this rel toll field, which we've set in the config as this acceptable model difference. So you'll notice that this gets pulled in from the regression model package. In the config, we've added the entry for the acceptable model distance, and we've set it to 0.05, which means that we're looking for more than 5% difference. That's what's going to trigger a failure. So basically what we're doing here is we're saying if any of the values between the old model and the new model differ by more than 5%, then we're going to fail this test. So this is really a sanity test, and differential tests tend to get brought in after there's been some kind of mistake, like the wrong version of the model was deployed or the wrong data was used for training. You get the idea. So it's best practice really to bring this in as soon as possible before anything goes wrong, just to make sure that you've got this layer of safety when you're releasing different model versions. So there's one thing that we need to address here, which is how do we generate this test data prediction CSV? Now this is something that we're going to be doing primarily, in fact, apart from this lecture, we'll always be doing this in the pipeline, CI pipeline. But to get the ball rolling, the very first instance of this test data prediction CSV, we actually have to create it locally. And the way we do that is using this capture model predictions script here, this function, capture predictions. And what that does is it loads the training data, it selects this slice of test data values and runs the make prediction function on them, and then it outputs them to the CSV. Now the sequence of calling this capture model predictions module and running the differential tests is very important, and when we add these tests to the CI pipeline jobs, we'll be working through the sequencing to make it as clear as possible. But that's the introduction to the differential test for now. I'll see you in the next lecture.